raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States.
We have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty.
Now you get RFK Jr.
Don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again?
You get Tulsi Gabbard.
Putting our country in a continual state of war.
You get Elon Musk and you get J.D. Vance.
A hell of a way to start the next 4 years.
The right-wing Avengers.
We have an army of digital soldiers.
Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength.
Shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one.
A rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
The golden age of America has most definitely begun.
Begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay.
We're getting the dirtbags off these streets.
There's one guy who can fix this shit, and it's Donald Trump.
What's storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Josh, and welcome to the Red Pill Project's Daily Dose Friday edition. I hope everybody out there is having a great start to their weekend. I got a lot done today, man. I was out in the yard. I was working. I cleared out a whole area that I was trying to do. I got wood over by the fire pit. Might actually have a fire tonight in the backyard. It's going to be nice. It's a little chilly, but that's okay. I'm all for it. And looking forward to the weekend. Minnesota is starting to get nice now. It's starting to not be so cold. Hello from Langley. Oh, yeah, really? Are you over by the farm there? Green Mountain Girl. Man, so not a big news day, but kind of, I look at like right now we're in this calm before the storm, right? But the storm is not going to be very long endured. It's going to be like 6 months. Boom, bang. It's going to happen, and then we're going to pull out of it. And when we pull out of this storm, we're moving into the Great Awakening. And that's what this is all about. You know, we ask ourselves all the time, or at least I ask myself, I don't know about other influencers, podcasters, but I ask myself all the time is like, you know, what are we doing here? Why do we have to do this? Why are we doing this? And, you know, the things that come across my mind are that, you know, I'm doing this for my kids. I'm doing this for the future of my friends and my family and the kids, and understanding that information is power. Truth is power. The discovery of truth is power. And that if we can inform the public, if we can get the people to understand what is happening in the world, then we can move into a world that is better for the people. And that's what we call the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening, I think, is going to be spectacular. What does it really mean? I think that we are at this convergence point in humanity where technological progression is about to meet human evolution. And if you understand evolution, because most evolutionary biologists do not, what you find is that evolution does not happen consistent over time. It's not like evolution just starts and it just kind of slowly changes. No, there's slow changes, but there's abrupt changes within biology that happen during very, very short periods of time. And those short periods of time produce radical changes within a species. And I believe that we are in one of those changes right now. So we are in one of those biological upgrade points as well as technological upgrade points. And it's kind of this convergence of those two that we are calling, in the context of the Great Awakening, that we are removing the global elite infrastructure from this planet. Well, not probably completely, but we're at least dismantling what they built from the last 100 years. We're decimating the deep state, and we are producing a world in which everybody has a fighting chance. And I think that that's what we all care about. And, you know, we talked about it last night on Overwatch and the Guardian, the OG show, is that technology is going to rapidly progress very, very fast. And if you're not, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to like the latest science news and stuff like this. There's a lot of new scientific breakthroughs coming on. You have plasma mirroring and all this stuff. These are revolutionary breakthroughs that are going to take us to the next echelon of science. And this is just the beginning. This is like pre-artificial superintelligence. So going to be absolutely phenomenal. I'm excited about it. And one of the best changes that I think that was made by this administration happened today. Did you pay attention to it? The Department of Justice is bringing back the death penalty by firing squad. Now that's kind of interesting. Right before maybe RICO and grand conspiracy charges start coming out, and treason, grand conspiracy, and we're going to see, you know, death by firing squad. Listen to this.
Anybody murders something in the Capitol, capital punishment, capital punishment. If somebody kills somebody in the Capitol, Washington, D.C., we're going to be seeking the death penalty. And that's a very strong preventative. And everybody that's heard it agrees with it. I don't know if we're ready for it in this country, but where you have it, it is, we have no choice.
No, we have no choice. And, you know, I find it really interesting that he stresses this on the Capitol. If somebody murders someone in the Capitol, then they're going to get the death penalty. And this is almost like it is a signal being sent out to the people behind Seth Rich. I don't know. I just get the feeling like they're sending a signal behind all of the power structures that operate in DC that have taken people out within DC. And they're just sending a warning out there. At least that's my thoughts. Trump posted this the other day. This is pretty mysterious. You have Karen Bass. He posted this 2 days ago. And he said, it was my great honor to meet the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, 5th District Supervisor Catherine Banger, and the supervisor's chief of staff, Anna Meridarian, to discuss the progress made by the horrific fires in the ravaged Los Angeles and the surrounding area. And he goes on. Now, he's meeting with Karen Bass. Now, this is kind of interesting because, Karen Bass is not just some person that just rose up in the politics. No. I said, what to this one? Because I was confused by why Donald Trump would be posting this. But see, Karen Bass is what I would consider to be a Manchurian candidate. She's not only Castro operative and communist, but she got elevated as vice chair of the National Endowment of Democracy, which is the center of soft power operations in U.S. government. She is not a DEI mayor. She is an extremely powerful at the global stage. This is from Data Republican on X. She was actively involved in shaping foreign policy with the Obama administration, especially in Africa. Her Ghana visit during the LA wildfires wasn't a vacation. It was part of a Biden delegate to greet Ghana's new president. She was considered the HUD secretary for the Biden administration. Instead, she nominated the person who would become the actual HHS secretary, California Attorney General Xavier Becerra. So this is someone who's, directly connected to Cuba, Castro, communism, to all of this stuff. This is a Manchurian candidate who was placed in positions of power to delegate power. Now Trump's meeting with her, and it's like, whoa, what's going on there? Well, I look at that from Trump is, number one, is the thing that we have to understand about Donald Trump is Donald Trump don't mess around, right? Donald Trump understands what we're talking. He knows the things that we're talking about. And so if he knows that and he's going in there and he's standing with a picture of Karen Bass and he's like, I just met the wonderful Karen Bass. What does that tell you? It tells you that Trump is in control. At least it tells me that Trump has a control or authority over these people and they are just dropping like flies. They are singing like birds. At least that's my thought on it. Right? Because nobody wants to go to jail for treason and then face a firing squad. No. So we start to see that Trump is operating in this paradigm of communicating, making deals with various different people that we looked at as global elitists or intermediaries, middle management of the global elites. And we're like, why isn't that, what's going on here? But when you start to think about the levels of control, the mechanisms of control and how they operate globally. And so when you start to look at the global infrastructure, think about everything as kind of a regional dynamic. Is the United States and Asia, and then you got Europe, and you got the Middle East and Africa. You got all of these various different regions. And these regions are dominated by various different corporate and NGO infrastructure, okay? Corporate, NGO, nonprofit infrastructure that operates in these regions. And then at the same level of that is large financial institutions. And someone said, we want arrests, not deals, Josh. I get it. I agree. But in order to get the arrest, sometimes you have to make deals. And it's not necessarily making deals. It's repurposing, reallocating assets. And that's what I'm trying to explain right now. So you get the financial institutions, and then you get the NGOs, NPOs, and corporations, right? And so you have the rules-based international order, the rules-based liberal international order. And what that was is a mechanism of think tanks, nonprofits, and NGOs, non-government organizations, that basically derive policy, regulation, and laws. And they go out there, they think these up, and then they funnel money through their various organizations into a lobby or into politicians' coffers, and then they implement getting those bills written or getting those policies and regulations changed. And over the decades, they began to implement their people directly inside of government. And this is what we call kind of the global deep state or the global cabal, all operating with one ideological agenda that was manifesting. And so when you have this large financial kind of domain, and then you have this NGO, NPO, think tank domain, this rules-based order, what you have is an intermediary to the people that are really pushing the agenda, the multi-headed hydra, right? These are just people. This is middle management right here. The financial institutions, the NGOs and stuff, that's middle management. Above that is the higher echelon of what we're talking about. Above that is the controlling factors, or at least what we believe to be the controlling factors. And so when you want to dismantle this agenda, this globalist agenda of the one world government, a commune-fascist, oligarchical controlled one world order, when you want to dismantle diversity, equity, inclusion, which actually derives from environmental, social, and governance, ESG, which came from the World Economic Forum, when you want to dismantle that whole ideological infrastructure, you have to take back over the institutions. You have to reallocate the assets within the institutions. And that means going in and grabbing the gatekeepers and bringing the gatekeepers onto your side, like Mark Zuckerberg, like Bill Gates, like Karen Bass. At least this is how I perceive it. Time will only tell, but that's how I am perceiving it right now. And looking at, man, we're the Friday shows we always do earlier, but we always have a little less of an audience. But I'm glad that you people are all here. The ones that are here, I'm glad you are all here. Because you guys are the true patriots that just love this show. So awesome. I appreciate you guys. Everybody that's here right now. Now we're going to do a transition in content, and it's going to be a short show tonight. I am actually going on a roundtable. I'm supposed to be on in half an hour, so I will be a little bit late to that roundtable because this show is going to go a little bit longer than the next half an hour. But I'm going on a roundtable with a few guys. So Scott and Alpha and Jaco and Nino. So I'll be joined over there, and I'll try to put those links out for that if people want to watch that. So we're going to do a quick transition, and I want to get this in real quick. We'll do one of those here in a few minutes, but I do have a guest that I want to bring in. You guys know Terry B. And I'm going to bring in Terry Beatley. So if you didn't know, tomorrow there is a Zoom call for LifeWave. And so we've been hosting these kind of maybe it was every Saturday for a few weeks, and then we took last week off. And now it's we're going to have one this Saturday. So I'm going to pull my website up. And if you guys understand what I'm talking about here, you can go to the redpills.tv and you can go to sponsors, and then you just click on this one that says LifeWave right there and learn more. And you scroll down. And I know it says Friday, April 25th, but the 25th is actually Saturday. I actually have it changed. I just haven't published the change yet. So if you go in here and you put your name and your email address in and you register for the Zoom call, we will send out an email before tomorrow morning with the Zoom link in it, so you can join into this Zoom call. And this is to learn more about LifeWave. And Terry wanted to come on and say hi to everybody. Hi, Terry.
Hey, I've been moving all day. And I have
moving from where to where?
Virginia, because Virginia's gone communist. Down to Florida. Yeah. So my husband's here. Here's Kenny.
Hey guys.
What's up, Kenny? How we doing, buddy?
I'm tired, but I'm good.
If anybody goes to the camping trips last year, they'll remember Kenny. Kenny was a hoot. He was a great dude, and he sang some karaoke. No, he didn't.
Good time.
Yeah, it was good times. And maybe Kenny will be there this year because there is another camping trip this year.
Oh yeah.
But Terry, talk to me. What's up with LifeWave?
All right. Well, I know it's a short show, and this will not be any long infomercial. But I'm going to have Kenny give his testimony. And so for those of you who have never heard me talk about this, and like Josh said, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time, I'll go into much more detail, answer people's questions. But bottom line, let's see, September of 2022, I started wearing the patch, the X39 LifeWave phototherapy patch, and it has changed my life. And then my husband started wearing it, and this is a man who used to get 4 or 5 headaches every single week. And for him, the headaches disappeared. Yeah. And so he's going to share a little bit more about his testimony here in just a second. But it's a phototherapy patch. It's about the size of a quarter. And, you know, Josh, in the beginning, I love being in the waiting room because there's always something you say that ties in with what I'm going to be talking about. So when you were talking about education and getting the people, you know, why do you do what you do? You're doing it for a brighter future for your children and all this. Well, this patch is one of those things, phototherapy. So there are 2 key people. There was the man way back in the 70s, a PhD research scientist, Dr. Loren Pickart, Loren, and then Pickart, Pickard, I believe. And so when I was 10 years old, this man discovered what's called the GHK copper peptide. And a peptide is, in this case, 3 amino acids strung together. And it looks for copper to bind with. And he began discovering it was fantastic for a number of different things, improvements in the body, like all sorts of things, which I'll cover those. But within a few short years, the National Institute of Health defunded all government funding of the GHK copper peptide. So I find myself today in a position where I'm educating doctors across America and into Canada about the GHK copper peptide. So this has been kept from the American public, and I'll go over more of that like tomorrow morning if people jump on the call. But what this patch does, you put the patch on, all it does is reflect your own light back into your body. It is non-transdermal, non-invasive, nothing from the patch goes into your body. And when that light gets re-emitted back in, with this patch, your GHK copper peptide is elevated. And so I'm going to spin this computer around over my husband.
Well, before you start, I actually want to comment on what you're saying, and he can come in. So number one is I wanted to bring up this, and this is something that I've known about for quite a while, and it's something that I've talked about on this show before. And why is it? Okay, there it is. And this is in peer-reviewed article through the National Institutes of Health. And what it says here is that the photoresponsive small molecule approach to optimal epigenetic modulation of DNA methylation. And so for everybody out there is like, what the hell does that mean? What this means is that through various different controlled environment testing is they've taken light and shown that DNA interacts with light. And not only interacts with light, but you find modulation within DNA methylation. And DNA methylation is actually one of the reasons why you age, is because methyls get moved around. And so on your DNA is the methyls, kind of think about it as your DNA strands are all the same through every cell, but your methylations are the ones that activate the various different expressions of that cell. So your methylations, when they become modulated, they can rebirth themselves, they can renew themselves, they can grow new tissue, they can become stem cells, very similar, but also they can change the gene expression to something better. So this is a methodology that they're finding out that produces epigenetic control factors within our body. And here's the thing, is our environment is filled with light. And so light has had a profound impact on who and what we have become through our existence. Now, the other factor to this is that in 2014, a gentleman by the name of Martin Blank, Dr. Martin Blank at Columbia University, he was doing testing on DNA to see if there was interaction with DNA and 4G and 5G electromagnetic spectrums that are utilized for cell phones. And he found profoundly that your DNA is affected by electromagnetic radiation. Anybody out there, electromagnetic radiation is light for people who might not know that. And so he discovered that your DNA is actually a fractal antenna, that it sends and receives signals in light. And that not only is it a fractal antenna, but it's an electromagnetic transducer. So it transduces light back and forth. And so when we start to look at this, is that your DNA is sending and receiving signals. It's fractal. So you start to chop it in half and stuff like that. Even RNA reacts with light. You have modulation of DNA methylation. So you have epigenetic control factors that go into this. So in other words, the the future of biology seems to be pointing towards phototherapy and light.
Yes,
I wanted to get that out.
No, that was.
No,
I don't know if everybody followed all what you said, Josh. But hey, you know what I say? Put the patch on.
Yeah, you hit a home run. Yeah, I encourage you to be on it tomorrow because Terry will educate you. It's nothing Big Pharma is going to tell you. But just for me, real quickly, when I started, I was busy running a company, bunch of employees. I didn't have time to learn. Terry's like, put the patch on. I'm like, okay, I'll try it. For me, within about 4 to 6 weeks, I started noticing I was not getting headaches every day. Okay. I would get 4 to 5 headaches every week. I mean, just like pounding. So instantly I was like, this has got, I like this. So I did start doing the research on it. Then I noticed I was sleeping better. And I'm one of those guys when I'm thinking about, well, it's changed now because of my company, but I was thinking about everything that was going on, what I had to do the next day, troubles and all. And, waking up 2 or 3 times at night, that went away. She said I stopped snoring.
He stopped snoring.
I don't get it, whatever. And then as spring came, we were in Virginia, and the pollen came. In years past, I would start getting stuffy, stopped up, and it just like, I just started to realize I'm not getting stuffed up. So anyway, just want to encourage you. Those are a few just health things. I have more energy now, but just the wellness in my body compared to what I was doing before. I can't really tell you any things because I really wasn't that sick. So I didn't have these miracle things happen, which we've seen it, hundreds of it. But just from a wellness standpoint, I feel so much better energy wise. And, I go in my day, I can do so much more than I used to do. I get so much more accomplished. So try to be on the call.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And so looking forward to meeting more. And we had a bunch of people on last time I did it. Let's see. And you wear the patch 12 hours a day. You want to drink extra water. Preferably you wear it during the day so you can drink extra water because it's going to elevate your glutathione by about 30%. We have a glutathione patch that elevates glutathione about 300% on average, but just wearing the X39. And so what was later discovered was that among many other benefits, when you elevate the GHK copper peptide, that peptide reactivates your dormant stem cells. So by the time you're 30, 35 years old, you're down about 50% of your stem cell activity. When you're my age, 62, you're down about 90% of your stem cell activity. But the good news is you can reactivate the dormant stem cells. Okay, so it's excellent for collagen production, reactivation of stem cells, and maybe I'll go over this tomorrow. It's a long list of potential benefits of elevating GHK copper peptide. And I see you pulling up your site, and I encourage everybody to sign up on Josh's team. The best deal is this, because do not sign up as a retail customer because you're paying LifeWave too much money. Okay. If you go, you can cancel at any time. Okay. But I encourage everybody sign up as preferably that PC Plus program. It's for 25 extra bucks, just one time a year. You get more than $350 of free patches. So if you go onto a monthly shipment of X39, that's $99.95, so a little more than $3 a day. You can get your stem cells reactivated, resets about 4,000 of your genes, and a whole host of other potential benefits. And then if you do the PC Plus, you're going to start getting, with your first shipment of X39, 10 free patches, because we have 11 different types of patches. Yeah. And so for the next 11 months, it's 10 free patches a month. And then in the 12th month, they will send you one free sleeve of one of the patches. And so
at checkout, so when you put it in your cart, at checkout, you go to your shopping cart, And when you see this right above it, you're going to say, want to save $50 in this order, become preferred. And you just click that preferred right there. That's where that comes up. So just so everybody knows, and those links are in the chat, and they're also in the Rumble chat. They're also in the description. But I want people, if you're like, okay, I want to hear more. I want to talk more about this. Tomorrow is going to be a Zoom call, and I recommend it. People are on the first Zoom call, second Zoom call. There'll be new information, so please join tomorrow with Terry. If you're interested in kind of how this works with LifeWave and learning more about that part of it, you can join in tomorrow. They're going to talk a little bit about that. But if you want to learn about how to use the patches, if you got them, you're like, where the hell do I put these damn things? Right? I wear them right on the back of my spine, right below my atlas. And it's actually pretty phenomenal. I had 4 of them on yesterday of X39. But four? Well, I've been reducing a lot of inflammation. So I had it on my knee and stuff like that. But anyway, so for tomorrow, people, if you want to get in on that, if you want to learn more about it, if you're already using it, or if you want to learn more about how you can become part of all of this, tomorrow's a Zoom call. Redpills.tv, go to sponsors, click LifeWave, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you will see the sign-up link for the Zoom. And it doesn't send, I don't know if it sends you the confirmation with the Zoom link. I don't remember if I set it up like that. But if it doesn't, I will send you the Zoom link tonight, probably like 3 o'clock in the morning. A little bit buzzed. No, I don't drink. Actually, I haven't drank in quite a while. Hey, I drank at GART, the Great American Restoration Tour, the last one in Nashville. I didn't get drunk. I only had like 1 drink every night. That was it.
There you go.
And before that, I didn't even drink before the last GART. So it's been going, it's pretty crazy. But anyways, guys.
Okay.
Terry's got to go. I got to get going with this show here. Yeah. But tomorrow you can join in with Terry. And then, Terry, I need to have you back on because we need to talk about Hosea. We need to talk about Dr. Nathanson and Hosea. And there's a lot of stuff happening there behind the scenes. But I hope that people still remember that there's more to Terry than just LifeWave. So we're going to have you on Overwatching the Guardian, me and Alpha. And we're going to have to do a whole show on Dr. Nathanson. I think that'd be a great one.
You talk about lifting the veil of deception. And that's key. So, but
Absolutely.
Thank you. I know you got to go. Thanks for having me on. And I look forward to meeting as many of you folks tomorrow as possible. All right.
Take care, Terry. Bye. All right, guys. And those links are in the chats and they are in the descriptions, not in the YouTube. Well, it's in the primary description. But all right, we got to rock and roll. So we got some stuff to get through right now. Are we ready? Or should we do just one more real quick? We can probably knock one of these out real quick because I do have to get these in. And crazy. Oh, well, look at that. That's probably why. Well, no, we'll have to do that at the end of the show. Anyways. All right. And we can do no Rumble ads today. How about that? So, what did we have today? Let's just listen to this 33-second clip. This is about FPLC. And this is going to shed some light on what we're about to see coming down the pipe.
They were paying informants to infiltrate some of these groups that they called extremists to gather information, dig up information, and report back to them. Here's a list of some high-ranking informants allegedly paid by the Southern Poverty Law Center. One of them is called Imperial Wizard of the United Klans of America, chat group organizer of Unite the Right Rally, a top fundraiser for the Neo-Nazi National Alliance, National Socialist Movement officer of the Aryan Nations-affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club. That's a mouthful. And they were paying informants.
They're paying informants. They were funding radical organizations on the left and the right. The Imperial Wizard of the United Klans of America, the chat group organizer of the Unite the Right Rally, top fundraisers for Neo-Nazis National Alliance, National Socialist Movement officer of the Aryan Nations affiliated Sadistic Souls Motorcycle Club, the fucking Southern Poverty Law Center would fund these organizations to produce protests and violence. They'd have them clash. They would fund the events. And then they would go in and write about it and say how we need to change the laws because these people are radical. But here's the thing. The Southern Poverty Law Center is not innocent. It is not, well, it's definitely not innocent. is not alone in these allegations. There's much more to this. And look what Mark Meadows posted yesterday. I love this one. We all know the SPLC wasn't the only one doing it. They are just the first to get caught. And that to me is an indication that something is about to come. And I talked about this the other night, that why didn't they go out there and indict the NGOs that were involved in the Minnesota protests or the Summer of Love or any of this stuff? And I think that is because they start realizing that the same kind of organization of various different NGOs are funding places like the SPLC. And then we find that the Tides Foundation, Soros Open Society Foundations, and other people are funding those organizations. Now, isn't it interesting? Think about this. Tim Cook. Remember Trump put this thing about Tim Cook out. Oh, Tim Cook, such a great guy. I love Tim Cook. And he's going to be truly missed. I wonder if Trump did that for a reason, because you got to be tracking resignations right about now. And if you're tracking resignations, what you'll start to see is major donors to SPLC. Tim Cook, JP Morgan Chase and MGM Resorts, George and Amal Clooney. But what you didn't see is George Soros Open Society Foundations. And so Tim Cook just stepped down as Apple CEO the day before this happened. I wonder why. I wonder what's going on. Another one, Michigan Secretary of State Benson is facing scrutiny over SPLC ties after group's indictment. I wonder who else is connected to the SPLC. I wonder who else is connected to this group of NGOs. And we explained this kind of how it works last night is, well, we were explaining it a little while ago, is you have these NPOs, nonprofit organizations, non-government organizations, and then think tanks. And then you have financial intermediaries, and then you have shell companies and these types of things, Act Blue, PACs, all of this. It's a massive infrastructure. You have large financial institutions up here. And what they do is they utilize organizations like SPLC to go in and to create what George Soros calls reflexivity, right? Is that you need disruption on both sides to get both sides motivated to converge in chaos. And so what did Rahm Emanuel say is never let a good crisis go to waste. And that's basically what they continuously do. The Hegelian dialect, right? Problem, reaction, solution. This is how they operated. And they would utilize all these small organizations like this to infiltrate and to bring about mass protests, to bring about violence in the streets, so that they could go out there and then try to fight it, to change the laws into their own domain, into their own ideological preferences. There's actually a something I wrote about this earlier, and I'm surprised that I don't have it up right now. Actually, let me go. Where the hell was it? I wrote about it. I know I did. What the hell? If you're just joining in, yeah, sometimes I'm like, there's something there. I thought I posted something about this earlier. Maybe I deleted it. I must have. Well, the idea here is that there is much more to this when you start to pull the string of this thread. Okay? Remember earlier we were talking about this. You had the multi-headed hydra, the echelon of power, the committee of 300, the 12 bloodlines, whatever you want to freaking call that infrastructure up here, the old guard, right? The old guard is just a faction of various different heads of that hydra that set together. Now you have Trump on this other side, and that's converging. But then you have large financial institutions, United Nations, global organizations, and you have then you have NGOs, NPOs, think tanks, and then you have governments that are controlled by these upper echelons. And the tentacles of how the money flows, of where the commands come from, this is the really important part. And I believe what's happening right now is SPLC is the first domino to begin to fall that's going to take down the bigger dominoes as it goes. And this is why we haven't seen indictments over the summer level, over the Minnesota ICE protest that just happened, over the No Kings rallies, over all of the Act Blue was being funded by these same NGOs and NPOs. And the 2020 election was stolen by the funding from these same NGOs and NPOs. 2018 midterms stolen by these same NGOs and NPOs, except we didn't see it because it was all structured within shell organizations or anonymous corporations. But this is what the DOJ, I believe, is putting together right now. So this could be pretty freaking huge. Now, here's what I love. I don't like Pam Bondi. Everybody knows it. I don't like Pam Bondi. Never did like Pam Bondi. The DOJ Inspector General is now investigating probing an investigation into the release of the Epstein files to see what went wrong. Because certain things are happening with the Epstein files that are making people question some things here. And Anna Paula Luna, I thought I had the post over here somewhere. I guess I didn't. Anna Paula Luna says that there's more to the Epstein files, and Congress is going to continue their investigation. And the witnesses speak a massive amounts of words about the people that were using and abusing them. Yet none of those have been named or even under investigation by the DOJ that we presently know. And so an investigation into why Pam Bondi potentially covered this up. Well, here's a part of the reason why this got covered up. And I hope that it does get exposed with this DOJ IG report that's going to come out. And so this comes from obviously a plaintiff in a court case that was part of the Epstein files. But this is, each time they would travel to one of these destinations, the same pattern of sexual abuse would occur, often with a vast array of aspiring models, actresses, celebrities, and or other females, including minors from all over the world. Upon information of belief, the defendant transported minor girls from Turkey to the Czech Republic, Asia, and numerous other countries, many of whom spoke no English. The plaintiff's knowledge, the only female specifically excluded from the defendant's sexual escapades were African Americans. And this goes on to name about 2,000. So Turkey sold thousands of underage children to Epstein's island for over $200 million, smuggling them out by private plane. Yes, that's correct. Thousands of underage children. This was not necessarily about sex trafficking. They were selling these children to biotech, biopharma, and genetic companies for off-the-radar genetic modification research, just like Tim Burchett said the other day, is that, one of my biggest concern, I got to be very careful of how I say this, is that our government's involved in genetic modification. Yes, they are, and this is why it's getting covered up. And this was kind of the blunt of a lot of the research that I've done to put out there. So we have the Epstein files coming back up to the surface now. We have NGOs. So Act Blue under investigation. This is the main super PAC for the Democrats. We have NGOs. We have the mortgage fraud stuff that's coming up, right? Taking $64 million for one $800,000 mortgage. And where's that money going? Why did the banks file a SAR request on this or go out there and say, hey, how come you have, because that's a federal crime to do that. You have, Adam Schiff, Letitia James all have multiple primary residences. Why? Because you can take out multiple mortgages on your primary residence, and then they just take the cash and the banks just forget about it, right? They just forget about it. So we have all of this coming up. This is all happening right now. Now you have Virginia the other day. The redistricting referendum in Virginia was declared unconstitutional and blocked by a circuit court judge. 65,000 plus mail-in ballots also dropped in 5 minutes at 8:39 to 8:43 p.m., which showed clear signs of fraud. And I got to ask, how would the Trump administration just allow this to happen? The reason? Because I believe it was a setup. I believe the DOJ was watching Virginia. What better way to fix our elections right before the midterms than to let this referendum election actually happen, where we know that Virginia wants to change it. They just stole the freaking the governor's election. Watch it happen and catch it in real time. And I think they did. I have a feeling they did. So from the 2020 election, that's also happening right now as well. Tulsi Gabbard, DNI Tulsi Gabbard. We have grand juries that are issuing subpoenas to Arizona. We have the FBI raid in Fulton County, Georgia. I think Pennsylvania and Nevada and Colorado are coming next on this. Raw data has shown that servers' IP addresses from foreign countries, including China, Iran, Serbia, and others, directly sending and receiving data from every single swing state and many other election precincts during and after the 2020 election. Now, I told you, you're going to find that there's some European countries in there, Ukraine, Britain. You're going to have Japan in there. That's going to be in there. But I believe that these are kind of node point proxies that were used. Not Ukraine. I think Ukraine was directly involved. But you're going to find more information coming out about that here in the next couple of weeks. So all of these things are on the ringer right now. And you have Pam Bondi removed, and all of a sudden, all of this shit is coming out very, very fast. And what did Todd Blanche say? It's going to be hyper accelerated. Now, going to the SPLC, remember, they were working with influencers and social media types, and they were infiltrating the left and the right. And Alpha posted this today. People who claim that they are podcasters or influencers and rile up their audience to tell them that the government is controlled and the United States is being taken over, and then all of a sudden say they are taking a week off for personal reasons. They are either liars, grifters, operatives, or absolutely weak, scared, and pathetic to abandon their audience when they are talking about this being the most critical time in American history. Or above all, just remember, who told you that these people were bad actors before it was popular to do so? So Trump today put out a whole thing about Candace Owens, low IQ person. What are we starting to see? We're starting to see that Candace Owens, I believe, Nick Fuentes and Ian Carroll all stopped their podcast this week, right when the SPLC stuff came out. The rumor is they were being paid by various different NGOs in these networks to push propaganda and bullshit. Imagine that if that starts to come out. Now, David Wilcock, I did not know him personally, but met him a few different times. He did die of suicide this last weekend, and our prayers go with his family and his friends out there. But what I've been seeing is something very, very interesting. Today, I did not know David Wilcock, although if I was a friend, like many of them have came out on X and talked about it, they've said all different types of things about him, but I would have tried to help him. I find it interesting that tons of people on this platform that knew David very well and were considered friends, many of them are talking all types of stuff about David and how he's having financial problems, struggling with mental health, struggling with depression, yet not one of these people decided to reach out and help this man when he was in need. Just remember, many of these people are the so-called leaders in the spiritual and truth movement. That should tell you a lot about these people and their characters. Most of them, just opportunistic human garbage. And I agree fully with that statement. All right. So, and rest in peace, David. And no, I don't think there's a conspiracy behind it. I think that he was at his wit's ends. I think that he made very rash decision at a very unstable time in his life. And it's sad that he didn't have people in his life that could help him and pull him out of that. But I hope that people begin to see the people within that circle that are out there talking shit about him, that are out there throwing, dirt on his grave before he's even buried. Corey Good, Wiedner, all these guys, and that you absolutely stop following these fucking garbage people. Tomorrow, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be heading to Pakistan, where peace talks again with Iran. Remember, Trump extended the ceasefire in Lebanon with Lebanon and Israel by 2 weeks, and by Iran, I think by like 5 days. So tomorrow they're going to negotiate, which means that Iran must want to come to the table. So I don't have much new information on Iran. We do know that there are two different factions that are operating in power and control in Iran, and there's two different worlds of negotiation. So what do I think is going to come out of this? I think that you might have an extension of the ceasefire after tomorrow. I think that economically and with the oil problem that's going on because of the Navy blockade, that Iran is going to acquiesce, but they're not going to hold true to their promise. And I think that it's going to be a very, very short ceasefire. I don't think kinetic operations are going to start back up very soon. But I do think that there's going to be moves to continue the regime change, to get people in positions of power to where Iran can be free from the grips of power and control that are controlling him. That's the European interest and the Chinese interest. And talking about that, 2 weeks ago, I said the exact same thing as Lou Elizondo. He says the so-called list of U.S. scientists who have died or gone missing is larger than people think. There are some very interesting common ties some of these individuals have with one another, and that is the UAP topic. And I said that this is closer to 25 people over the last 18 months. Considering what we are learning about the extents globally from China to Europe, we have to start asking the tough questions. What the hell is really going on? This has three-body problem vibes. And so we have this right here that just came out. We talked about this last night on the OG show, but I did want to put it out there, is that NASA nuclear engineer, Chinese scientists have been dying mysterious deaths too. NASA nuclear engineer found dead. It's happening around the world, people. It's happening in Europe as well. You'll be hearing about that probably next week. Chinese scientists have been dying mysterious deaths too. Now, here's one, and I think I know the answer to this one. The star of China's booming artificial intelligence defense sector has been working on a Taiwan invasion scenarios until he died in an unexplained car crash in the early hours of the morning in Beijing at just age 38. I think that one was U.S. intelligence, but that's just me. All right, what else do we got here? We got RFK coming out telling Congress that glyphosate causes cancer. Well, you're absolutely right, Bobby. And the fact that he's putting this in congressional testimony and putting this out into the world is critically important to understand that there's more to this, that they're laying the pathway for getting rid of this stuff as it begins to come up. And one more, Burchett tells Sean Hannity, somebody is sending a clear message regarding the 11 missing and dead scientists. The president has demanded the release of the FBI files. A lot of these people are rumored to be part of organizations and groups that have access to some of these files. So hopefully we will see that coming on and about very soon in information. Going to do one ad with Rumble, and then I will go ahead and do some final thoughts. All right, parents, real talk for a second. America is about to hit a huge milestone. We're coming up on America's 250th birthday, 250 years of freedom, grit, sacrifice, and the greatest experiment in self-government the world has ever seen. This is the perfect moment to help your kids understand why this country matters, not just fireworks and hot dogs, but the story behind it all. There's a free guide called The Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday, and it's honestly a great way to introduce kids to how America began and who the founding fathers were, what they risked, and why the idea they fought for still matters today. The guide sends kids back to the moment when brave men signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well they were risking their lives for freedom. It breaks it all down in a way kids can actually understand and enjoy without watering it down or turning it into boring schoolwork. If you care about raising kids who know where this country came from and why it's worth preserving, this is something you'll want to grab. And the best part, it's completely free with a special offer. You just need to pay the $2 for shipping and processing. Just head to freeusabirthday.com. That's freeusabirthday.com. And the Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday is yours for your kids today. America's story matters. Make sure the next generation knows it. Appreciate you guys letting me run that. And tonight, Conversations on the Fringe is coming up in about an hour from now. I just got to get it set up, and you'll see it pop up and populate on Rumble and also be on YouTube. And then, then I might do a show tomorrow. So keep that in mind. I might do a show tomorrow. It depends how nice the night is. Right? I might have a fire tomorrow in my backyard. But I am going to join Nino and all those guys right now for a roundtable. I believe they are live now. So I got to go over there and join those guys for that. But I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. And I appreciate you guys joining me on this Friday night because, we usually have a smaller audience on Friday night. And I appreciate you guys sticking around and joining in and all the support and everything that you guys do to help keep truth alive and supporting the Red Pill Project. So much love, respect. God bless. Take care. Have a great night. Also, don't remember, life.redpills.tv, life.redpills.tv. And I'll throw this out there one more time in the live chat so you guys have it. Life.redpills.tv. And don't forget to go over to the Red Pill Project website and get registered for this, okay, for the call tomorrow. So much love, respect, guys. God bless. Take care. Have a great night. We're going to see you guys next time. Take care.
There was a time when our children stood tall, hand on their hearts, one voice for all. There was a time when honor had weight, when the flag was a symbol, not a debate. There was a time when our history was known, with pride in the rules that made us our own. There was a time, respect for the brave, for those who bled, for the lives they gave. Now the homeland burns in silent war. Truth is twisted, we can't ignore. Through the smoke, a voice still calls. We the people will not fall. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil under, patriots rise. We are one, land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time when truth was clear, when the media served, not ruled by fear. There was a time when leaders stood fast, guarding the people, defending the past. Now corruption wears a crown, lies are fed to tear us down. But Q said watch, and Q said see. The silent war will set us free. From the front lines, soldiers stare, wondering if we're still there. Their blood, their hope, their sacrifice will not be sold for a life's prize. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, the veil undone, patriots rise. We are one, land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. Or we will spend our sunset years telling our children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. There was a time, the time is near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone, patriots rise. We are one, land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time, there was a time, now is the time. Do it, Q.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad.
The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation. I want you to get mad.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
These people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell,